Merry. So think of Merry Christmas. And the reason why we named her Mary is because she is native to the Christmas Mountains out at Big Bend National Park. So they are a native species to Texas, especially out there in the west. So let me see if I can unfoil her here a little bit so you guys can see her better. All right, so Mary is such a sweetheart. She is a gopher snake. So that's the species that we're looking at here, a gopher snake. So a couple things to mention. Number one, she's got really good camouflage because of this coloration that you see here. So if you're a desert creature, it's a pretty tough place to be in the desert. Not only you have to deal with the hot weather and dry weather, but also a lot of predators. And so if you're an animal that lives there, then you want to not be seen typically. So this allows for some of that camouflage. And you can kind of see, especially if you're towards the front, and I know for those of you in the back, it's a different story, but you can kind of see how that pattern changes also. So back here near the tail, it is more noticeable. You have these very distinguishable kind of blotches here of kind of a copper color. And then over here, it's more scattered and not as noticeable. So it does change from tail to head here. And Mary has been with us for, it hasn't been that long. I would say probably about a year now. So she's still kind of new to us and to these programs, but she is adapting quite well. She is a constrictor. So when it comes to snakes, you can classify them by families, genera, right? But typically the kind of the easiest classification you can think of is venomous, non-venomous. Okay, pretty simple, pretty easy. So venomous snakes, of course, are snakes that will use venom to kill their prey, to hunt. And there are two families where you have all of representatives from those families are venomous. There's another family that has a few venomous representatives. And then you have I think it's 35 families with non-venomous snakes. So most snakes are not venomous. This is one of those. So instead what they do, you can probably assume or guess by just looking at how she's grabbing onto my hand here. Instead, what they do is they actually squeeze very tight to kill their prey. And so this is primarily a rodent or a small mammal eater. And so that's what she's going to be looking for out there in the desert, anything that they can find. And then when they find it, they're going to squeeze very tight. So imagine my hand being a rodent, right? So this is more or less what you would see. And then they're very powerful. They have, their whole body is just like a wall of muscle. And it's quite strong. And so, yeah, if you're a small animal about the size of my hand, it is game over for you if you come across a snake like this, especially if that snake is hungry, okay? And they have teeth, so they are able to bite, of course. And those teeth they use to hold on to things, so they are not using those to chew. They do not have specialized teeth in the way mammals do, including us, of course. Instead, they're all pretty much the same, very sharp little needle-like teeth, and that's how they're able to get a good grip on them. And what she's doing right now, she's sticking her tongue in and out. You can see that pretty clearly, right? And so she's smelling the surroundings with that tongue. And so, I'm actually kind of curious because you can smell some ferret on my hands. So I'm curious if she's able to smell that. I don't know. It's very possible. However, she, like I said, she likes rodents, so probably not going to be interested necessarily in that type of smell. Otherwise, she might be very, very, decide to become very hungry if I had been holding a rat or a mouse. So you can see she's quite active. So this is typical of her. She doesn't stay still, but she's not super squirmy either. So this is actually a very good snake to work with. And because you can see the free range of motion here with this particular snake. The belly scales, I don't know if you guys can see. I'm going to see if I can show you more or less. You can kind of see how the belly is pretty much white, right, as opposed to this color. And so these scales right here allow for the movement. So they are able to stretch pretty well in order to facilitate this type of movement, the slithering motion typical of snakes. And so, they're excellent climbers. You can find them. If I were to let go, she could easily climb on this wall. In our rooms, they can get on the ceilings, and they're pretty they're pretty much able to get anywhere they want to go, and so they're fascinating creatures. A lot of people, understandably, I think, have a trepidation, fear, or maybe just hesitance to snakes. But one of the wonderful things about being here and you guys attending something like this is that you can kind of see how cool they are and how great of a personality they have. You can learn about their benefits to having them around as neighbors. And then I've seen this firsthand many times where somebody kind of loses that innate fear of snakes after just learning about them, being exposed to them. And so this is how I started. I wouldn't say I was scared of snakes, but I was kind of just very apprehensive of them and kind of neutral at best. But I have come to just absolutely love them. And I hang out with these guys all the time. We give them enrichment where we just pull them out from their enclosure. We kind of hang out with them for a while we're working at our desk, have them around our neck, or maybe just cuddling with them. And so snakes are really, really cool to have around. Okay, go away. Any questions you guys may have about Mary or snakes or reptiles? Okay, so your hand went up first, so I'll come to you first and then I'll go around. Yeah. Is it nocturnal? That's a good question. So a lot of the snakes are going to, well, it depends. So in the case of Mary, she's a gopher snake. So a lot of the snakes are nocturnal. Yeah, they're out there hunting at night. Because they primarily, so if you're at night, you don't really see light that much, right? I mean, sometimes if you have a full moon, you can use that. But typically in the wild, it's pretty dark, right? And so because they use their nose, or rather their sense of smell with their tongue, that's their primary sense in order to find their food. So they don't really need to have light, and so they're going to take advantage of the nighttime to be out there hunting. And in fact, a lot of times you'll find more snakes at night, especially people who do herping and going out there looking for things. They prefer the nighttime because that's when you find more. And so they're out there doing their business at night typically. Okay, I think you were next, yeah. She can definitely blend in with rocks. I mean, if I kind of come up here, you can kind of see that, right? I mean, so very much able to blend in with rocks, certainly something like this color or the desert. Now, obviously, if you're looking at a different kind of color, maybe not so much, but in her typical environment, yeah, she can blend in very easily on the ground, even grass, especially like the kind of yellowish grass. Yeah, definitely quite easily. Okay, yes. How long can they get? Well, let's see. So Mary's already a full-grown adult, and so I think we're looking at, I'm going to say she's a little bit longer than Trinity, who I had earlier. So it's looking like 3.5, 4 feet. No, definitely not 4. Maybe 3.5 feet or so. So this is typical size for a gopher snake. So not a huge snake, but certainly not a small snake either. I would say a medium-sized snake for sure. Any other questions? Oh yes. Unfortunately, I can't let you do that. Yeah, so Mary's gonna hang out with me here at the front, but thank you for asking. Absolutely. Any animal with teeth and and a mouth can bite, right? And so she's just not familiar with all of you guys here, as lovely as you guys have been, of course. And so for those reasons, unfortunately, I can't risk it. And so, she is just gonna be here with me. But any other questions that you guys may have about Mary or snakes in general? Anything that you'd like to know? Here's a fun fact. So the snakes have all of the same organs that we have. Okay, so we have a heart, right? So what are the main organs? So heart, lungs, liver, stomach, intestines, pancreas, right? Kidneys. So those are the main ones. Obviously the brain. But I'm talking about the abdominal cavity here. So they have everything in there. Gallbladder. They have. What am I missing? Those are the main ones, right? So, but how in the world can they fit it all in here? Well, all of their organs are stretched out like noodles. I mean, if you've never seen a snake inside, which I actually did see one when I was in college, it's pretty amazing to see everything. And some snakes, I'm not sure about gopher snakes, but some snakes actually only have one lung in order to accommodate for to have space for everything else. So it's a pretty interesting adaptation. This body here has helped them for a long time, and so yeah, it is quite interesting. Yes, yeah.